And we are able to catch up with the former Deputy Prime Minister, former Nationals leader John Anderson, who joins us from the Gold Coast. Thanks for joining us, John. Very keen to get your thoughts on the way Bill Shorten has injected morality and religious beliefs into this election in the past 24 hours.
I have to say that I think this election is a very serious turning point in Australia. It's the first truly post-truth election we've had where there's not been the ballast in the community and amongst the media to actually get people to stick to the facts and explain their policies and what they will mean for Australia. The more it's got on, I think the more people have got the drift that Bill Shorten actually is a divider who plays to people's feelings and emotions. And now we learn that he wants to have a summit to pull business and so forth together to develop an economic plan. Well, you know, he doesn't need to do that. Every leading economist in the country will tell you that his economic plan is contractory at a very time when Australia's economy is exposed. It will withdraw down on the size of the pie, not increase it, while he dishonestly claims that he can raise wages. So you're seeing into the heart of the man. I have to say I'm disturbed by it, and I'm disturbed, I'll be really honest about this, about the lack of ballast in the media and in the community that has seen him get away with things he should not be allowed to get away with.
Yeah, I mean, I think your point there about the economic summit is a powerful one. I'll come back to the other issue you mentioned about post-truth, but the economic argument here, Bill Shorten and Chris Bowen have argued for years that they've got the economic plan. Now, to their credit, they've had their policies out there for everyone to see. As you say, they're going to add a lot of, the government's going to reap a lot of extra taxation, they're going to spend more, a lot of government intervention on energy and climate and the like. It's all been out there. He said he's got the plan, yet now he's saying after the election he's going to bring everyone together and work out how to improve things, how to lift productivity. It seems to be a dramatic shift this late in the campaign.
Well, I think it is, and I think it's actually a bird of a feather with the personal attacks on the Prime Minister. It is about diverting attention from an economic policy that people are now very aware. A tax savings will disincentivise people from working, will actually draw down on economic productivity, and every major economist in the country will tell you that. It's the wrong plan at the wrong time. He doesn't stand on the shoulders of Hawke and Keating, he stands on the shoulders of Whitlam. And the other great problem with this is that the Australian people are not in a position to make an informed decision and give informed consent. Can I give you an example of why that is critically important? We're told we have to have certainty. Well, no, he's just told us we don't have certainty because they don't have an economic plan. But if you take climate change, regardless of where you sit on the issue, we are being set up by the Labor Party for more of the chaos we've had in energy markets over the last 10 years because business has not been told what it's going to cost or what they've got to do. I'm a farmer. I've got skin in the game when it comes to climate, and I can tell you I would love to believe that Bill Shorten and the Australian economy could be so organised as to end my droughts, floods, fire and what have you. But it isn't going to happen. The chief scientist himself has told us that. The real problem here, though, is trust has broken down to an unprecedented and frightening degree in our Commonwealth Parliament and the players therein. This will fuel it. And it doesn't matter if you're in the media and you've not been asking these hard questions, not been pursuing them. You are contributing to the yellow vest moment, whatever it looks like in Australia, that we are headed for. The uncertainty will create chaos because they haven't announced their real plans. They can't have. Nothing they've said gets you anywhere near 45%.
Well, John, as you know, the Labor Party and their spokespeople just won't front up where they're going to be asked these questions. They only speak in places where they know they won't be pursued. It's quite extraordinary. And, look, I was just lamenting to Campbell Newman that I can't think of any election, state or federal, where I've seen an opposition leader leave so many questions, really pertinent, critical questions about costs and policies completely unanswered throughout the election campaign. And then you've come up with this beautiful description and timely description saying it's our first post-truth election campaign where people are being expected to vote basically on feelings and emotion rather than on facts and policy. Well,
Neil Ferguson summed it up, although I think he said he did actually give his wife credit for coining the term. We're turning ourselves into emocracies, not democracies. Now, I run a small business. It's called a farm. I can tell you we have enough unknowns. If I am simply to say, right, we're going to make our decisions on how we might feel. It feels good to plant this crop or not plant that crop. It feels good to make that decision or not make that decision. I can tell you what I'm going to feel after a while. I'm going to feel very broke because I haven't thought it through. This is a time for Australians to think. The world is a dangerous and uncertain place. We seem to have been distracted from recognising that. We have the chief scientist telling us, doesn't matter what we do on climate change. I happen to believe the coalition's got it right. We should be responsible international citizens. We should do our bit. It doesn't matter where you sit on that spectrum. If you believe in democracy, then you believe people should be able to make an informed decision before they vote. It is quite apparent to me the Labor Party doesn't believe, therefore, in the Australian people being able to make an informed decision. Now, that's a very serious charge, as I see it. Secondly, it appears that a lot of people in the media, where is the ABC's economic unit analysing this? Where are they? Where's their work? Where have they been exposing the fact that a contractory budget at the moment will draw the economy down, not grow it up, and make it impossible to meet those higher wage demands? Where are they?
The ABC hasn't exposed a fact throughout this campaign. Look, I'm as frustrated and depressed as you are about the lack of quality in this election campaign debate, the lack of information, the lack of questioning and facts. But in the end, this is why I still think there's a likelihood of the coalition winning the election, because I just don't believe that in the end Australian voters are silly enough to take a punt on the unknown. I think in the end, while they would have no affection for this government, and nor should they, given some of the chaos they've seen, in the end they might stick with what they know rather than take a big punt on the unknown. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a really important point, and I think actually what you've seen the last couple of days with the personal attacks, with the attempts to divide the Australian people, you can't put them any other way. You really can't. The sudden appeal to business, help us put a plan together and to have an accord-type consensus. You're seeing the Labor Party recognising that actually they've not won this campaign. They started out so far in front, but actually they've been going backwards ever since. There's no doubt in my mind that given the way Scott Morrison and I have to say people like Josh and Michael and so forth have performed out on the ground, I don't think there's any doubt in my mind that people have now seen deep into the heart of the man who would be Prime Minister, and they don't like it. And on the other hand, I think Scott is now winning confidence as a man of integrity who's across the detail and actually understands the moment. Can I say to every Australian, this is not the moment for excitement, it's for stability.